Welcome to Unstoppable Stories That Move. I'm your host, Sally Hed Dahlquist. I've traveled all over the world to run marathons and am fascinated by the ordinary people who do extraordinary things. They just won't quit. No matter what life throws at them, they keep going. Mile after mile, challenge after challenge, they find a way to push beyond their limits. So listen as these seemingly normal people share their stories of resilience from the race course and beyond, and inspire us to keep moving forward too. Let's get to it. Instead of describing yourself like normal, like if you were a pet or an animal, what would you be? So we'll talk about that.
Oh, easily. If I was an animal, I would easily be a golden retriever because I feel like I'm just kind of like I'm kind of dopey sometimes, and they have golden retrievers have like a fun, they're kind of dopey, but they're really sweet. They're loyal. They're a lot of fun, and I don't know. We had golden retrievers growing up, and I remember I used to read to my dog Hope when I was a little kid.
Oh, that's cute.
I'm thinking maybe I was a dog in a past life. I'm not sure, but yeah, definitely could see myself being a golden retriever specifically.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Sally Hed Dahlquist, zooming in from Afton, Minnesota. I'm here today with the unstoppable Levi Shank. Yay! Say hi, Levi.
Hi, Levi. Hi, Sally.
Hi. Levi is a globe-trotting marathoner who has run almost 200 marathons. He's at, how many are you at now?
191 marathons. Well, a few of those are ultra marathons, but yeah, 191 total.
And you're almost at 200. You're counting down to Kentucky Derby in Louisville this April 2026, right?
235 days. Not that I'm counting.
Not, how do you know it's 235 days?
I've got a handy dandy app called the Countdown app to help me track all my marathons. So I can tell you how many days I have until all the next 9 marathons.
Oh my God, I have to get that on my I got married, like 8 years ago, and we used theknot.com, and that still has a countdown, and it will tell me how many days I've been married
Oh,
since
wow.
then. So Mike and I had our 1,000-day anniversary a couple of years ago.
I love it.
I should check that, see if it's still counting up.
I was going to say, is this something where you can, grill him on, well, do you know how many days we've been married and see if
Do you know how many days I have been putting up with you?
Years later on a therapist couch, I'm sure.
That's right.
As you said, it's been 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years. We got married in 2017. Can't believe it.
That's awesome. What's your do you do the annual where you give gifts? You can tell I'm not married. After your anniversary, it's like, well, I mean, silver I know is like what, 25 years, but paper, and then it goes from paper to, do you guys do that where you celebrate?
No, we haven't. Like your leather anniversary. I'm waiting for that one. Then maybe I'll give him something.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So your normal life, you grew up in Maryland, right? And your brother was quite a bit older than you.
Yeah, my brother is 12 years older than me. So yeah, growing up in a little town called Welcome, Maryland.
Oh, sounds quaint.
Population of about 1,000 people.
Oh.
Let's see, we had a horse stable, we had a post office, and we had a drunk bar. Well, convenience store, but it had like a little bar in it as well. But that's pretty much all we had. We didn't even, it was one of those no stoplight towns. And yeah, it was my very first job. I was a stable hand. I worked out mucking horse stables.
Nice.
So yeah, definitely different than Los Angeles for sure.
Yeah, and now you've been in LA and you had a little jaunt in Minneapolis for a while.
I was in Minneapolis for almost 7 years, and then I've been out in LA for over 16 years now. So I think I'm gonna try to make it to at least 20 years because I'm all about like round numbers if I can. That didn't happen in Minneapolis because I couldn't deal with the winters anymore. So who knows? Maybe I would have tried to make it to at least 10 if the winters weren't so crazy. Uh,
Not the minus 40 degrees.
well, the only good thing about minus anything in Minneapolis was that Sebastian Joe's ice cream always gave discounts when it got to a certain temperature below zero. So
Uh-huh.
I would
Yeah.
kind of secretly hope for really cold temperatures only because I loved going to Sebastian Joe's and I would eat ice cream no matter how cold it was outside.
Yes. Okay, so there's like three ice cream shops. One is Sebastian Joe's in Minneapolis, and then there's Nelson's Ice Cream in Stillwater, and then there's Selma's Ice Cream here in Afton. They all kind of compete for small town best ice cream shop. I have now determined that Selma's in Afton is the best
Really? Okay.
because my bestie Dina, her favorite ice cream in the whole world is Sebastian Joe's raspberry chocolate chip. Turns out that's my husband Mike's favorite ice cream too. Who knew? But we finally went to Selma's, and oh my god, their raspberry chocolate chip is amazing. The little chocolate bits they put in there, they're like dark chocolate balls filled with raspberry jelly. So they're like in a little explosion of raspberry goodness in your mouth when you eat it.
Amazing.
I know. You're going to have to expand your horizons and come out to the country next time you hit Minnesota.
Well, jelly filled kind of reminds me of if you ever get a chance to go to where did I go? Was it New Zealand?
Uh-huh.
Has an ice cream called Jelly Tip ice cream, and
Okay.
it's so amazing. It's like a jelly filled type thing, but unfortunately, they don't sell it, here in the States. But they do have a little convenience store type thing that will ship Jelly Tip, chocolate bars to the States. So every once in a while, I get a craving for Jelly Tip, and like getting it shipped all the way across the world for some reason.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you have been everywhere,
I have, yeah. I've run in all the continents as well. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun with the travel for sure.
You even ran in Antarctica, and that's the kind of trip where you fly in and have to sleep in a tent, like on the snow. I mean,
Yeah,
I know winter camping is a thing. People do it here in Minnesota. It's not quite my thing, but you have camped in Antarctica, the
yeah,
bottom of the world. I
yeah.
mean, I just took a cushy boat there and sat in a hot tub when I was done.
That would have been honestly the smarter thing to have done. Would have been that. There is another marathon where they take a boat down. Unfortunately, that was going to cost probably twice as much money. So I think for me, it came down to, I'm already running myself ragged financially with flying
Yeah.
down. I had to borrow money from both my parents, my brother. I maxed out a credit card to make that trip happen. I went into that PTO at work, but I'm like, no, I'm going to make this trip happen. It's a once in a lifetime thing. And
Yeah.
flew down and we camped in three-person tents. And it was kind of a rough night's sleep, trying to do a 0-degree sleeping bag, but it's still freezing cold. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, but great experience. But after the race, it's operation like let me change as quickly as I can so hypothermia doesn't set in.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a little crazy, but yeah, but I missed the penguin that was on the course, unfortunately.
Aw.
There was somebody on our tour took a video of this penguin, and
Mm-hmm.
I still never forget the video because Zara took this video and she said, "I'm getting beat by a penguin," and you saw this like just hauling ass, and I've never seen a penguin run like that before. So
Yeah. It turns out those little buggers, they run all the time. They're so cute. They just waddle along. Do you know why they run? They chase each other.
well, I imagined it's to warm up because it was so daggone cold down there.
Okay, so I heard like two different theories. So the little baby penguins, the younger ones, they're hungry and they go up to their parents and they tap on their beaks to get more food. But the parents say, I'm not going to feed you. You got to get stronger." So the parents start running away and the little the babies start following them and running after them as fast as they can. So it's supposed to make the baby penguins stronger.
Oh, wow.
And then if one penguin can't keep up, then the parents know they have to pay more attention to it. So it was supposed to make them stronger and then possibly help the ones that aren't as strong.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a good thing there's not a penguin version of CPS, right? Like that's
I know.
that is insane. But wow, I mean, I guess it would kind of, make you a resilient creature.
I know. And they're so funny because they're all wearing hammer pants, they can't really seem like they have very big steps. And here they are just chasing each other all over the place.
Yeah.
In this case, it's not a mating ritual. It's the kids chasing after the parents. Mommy, feed me, feed me, feed me.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Penguins are so I love them. I got to see a little penguin colony when we were on the South America portion of that trip. And it was really cool. You got like a whole tour of this island where all these penguins on this island. So you went around and, they basically tell you, don't, mess with the penguins kind of deal, kind of check them out from afar. And I realized why they said that when there was this one guy who got a little too close to the penguin and he kind of got nipped by one of the penguins.
Really?
I felt bad for laughing, but I was like, well, that's kind of what you get, buddy. They told us not to be super close to the penguins.
Don't touch the penguins. I mean, they're so cute. I just want to go up and give them hugs.
Yes, they are adorable for sure.
And they're so curious because they just look at you like, what are you? What are you? And then with our tour, they gave everybody blue jackets to wear. So there's 50 people at a time unloading from the boat, wandering around these blue jackets, and the penguins are like, "Oh, what are these blue people?" And then the other cruise boat from Hertegruten comes ashore, and all those people have red jackets on. I'm like, oh, what are these red people? And then the National Geographic boat goes on shore with all these people in yellow jackets. Like, who are those people?
So how long was your tour when you went?
I think, well, with the boat, because we crossed from Ushuaia, it's like maybe 10 days on the boat, 2 days to cross, 4 or 5 days in Antarctica waters, and then 2 days back, 3 days back.
That would have been wild. I don't know if our whole trip was about, well, I guess our whole trip was probably about maybe close to a couple weeks between South America. But thanks. I would love to do another trip down there by boat just to kind of compare the two, but that will definitely have to be something I would save up a lot for.
Yeah. I mean, I was on the waiting list for 3 years for that trip.
That's crazy.
It was my retirement trip. Like I signed up as soon as I knew I was retiring and then waited 3 years to go.
That's crazy.
Like, I don't care, Mike. We're spending our retirement. I'm gonna blow it all on this trip. There goes our vacation budget for the year.
Yeah, it's definitely not a cheap trip for sure, no matter how you get down there.
No.
But yeah, it's one of those that I'm very, very thankful that I did it. It finally felt like my accomplishment after I paid everybody back, of course.
Yeah.
I was like,
you found a way.
I did, eventually, I was joking with my family. I said, well, I guess technically the medals that I earned on the trip are all of y'all's until I pay you back. So
Yeah.
that's the motivation to pay everybody back, I think.
Yeah. One thing I totally respect about you is the way you budget and calculate and figure out your PTO and like every paycheck you allocate to your races. How are you managing that?
Well, welcome to the world of me being super OCD, where
I love it.
requires
the positive side of OCD.
Positive side of OCD. Yeah, this is what they don't tell you, the good selling point. I think as somebody who works as a database professional, work wise, I'm somebody that is all about like running reports and things like that. So I take that, I think, into my personal life too. So in my personal life, it manifests to where everything needs a spreadsheet.
I love it. That's why you and Mike get along.
The spreadsheets are like, honestly, like it's ridiculous. Like I have spreadsheets about finances. I have spreadsheets about trips. I have some spreadsheets that compare the two. So it's crazy. But yeah, the PTO stuff, it's like, I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I know I earn this much per paycheck. How like at what point when I was riding solo on PTO, I would be like, okay, well, when can I request these trips? After how many paychecks? Now thankfully I haven't burned through that much PTO. I've kind of learned the art of taking sick days on the bookends of vacations where
Mm-hmm.
nobody from my job will be hearing this.
Maybe you'll have hit your 20 years in LA by then.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, so now I started just kind of requesting sick days. I think I've kind of learned that like, hey, I'm not using these days. I'm going to kind of use those as sick days on the end of vacations.
Well, and oh my God, like you're exhausted after marathon and traveling. So you're not at your best.
No, not at all. And I don't think my job would want me to like necessarily be working when I'm not at my best. So, I mean, it's part of it is my anticipation of physical health and mental health. So that's kind of how I justify it, I guess.
You need those recovery days.
I do. I need the recovery days. Sometimes I'll book them before as kind of like a mental preparation for a trip. So I'm totally justifying it. It's totally legit. But
Yep.
yeah, it's a lot of different like spreadsheets and things like that. When I was planning, when I planned the end of a marathon tour for one for a round of the states, it's me trying to compare like different races for each state to try to get myself down to the one that I think is going to win. And now on this third round, I've made a rule not to repeat marathons. So
Yes.
the third round has been more challenging in certain ways because it's like, okay, well, I can't do certain races that I would have otherwise signed up for. But at the same time, it's like, well, it kind of weeds certain ones out. I'm like, okay, great. So if you're on a state like Delaware where there's probably only 3 marathons in general in the entire state,
Yep.
are okay. This is the one that's left.
That's all. Yeah, that's another thing that's truly amazing about you is you have never repeated a marathon.
Technically, there is one that I repeated, but it was an ultra marathon, the Pistol Ultra Marathon.
Uh-huh.
Only repeated that one 2 years in a row because I signed up for the 100-mile race and I came up short the first year. Actually, came up short both years, unfortunately.
Hmm.
But yeah, actual just marathons. Yeah, I've never repeated a marathon. But yeah,
Hmm.
so once I get to 200, I can maybe let loose of that and start repeating marathons. So we'll see.
Oh, well, only in Delaware. Extenuating circumstances.
Yeah, Delaware, I think by default, if I'm not doing a fourth round, definitely do not quote me as saying I'm doing a fourth round because I will not be doing a fourth round. If I did a
Okay.
fourth round, yeah, I would have to repeat Delaware for sure because I legitimately don't think there are more than 3 marathons in the entire state. But yeah,
Yes, those small states, like New Jersey, JC started the zip code marathon just to add another one in Jersey.
basically, he was one of my favorite race directors, I think, of all time too. Like he's great.
Yeah, yeah, I've gotten to know him a little better over the last year. Oh, and you and I also are mutual friends with Sandy. That was so fun to figure that out.
Yeah, I don't know how do we figure that out? Like at some point, I think you would message me saying something about Sandy, and I don't know how you put because I think you were the one that put the pieces together that we both knew her. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
we must have been talking on a trip, and maybe crazy runners came up or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we were sharing a room in Manchester, New Hampshire, and so we were talking a lot and your name must have come up. I mean, how many Levi's are out there, really? So these crazy marathoner guys, I'm like, that's got to be Levi Shank. She's like, yes, I love him.
But I will say I'm not the only Shank. Unfortunately, Clyde Shank has me like way beat. So
Yep.
every single time I think, oh yeah, like I'm like one of the only Shanks. I'm like, wow, I'm not even the most Shank that runs marathons. Like, it's just crazy. Yeah.
Right. So Clyde Shank, he actually started mainly marathons, didn't he?
Did he? That would make sense because I think he's done 15 rounds of states if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not that many, but he's done a lot. Um,
Yeah.
Definitely a lot more than I have for
Or
sure.
was it Clyde Burleson? No, it's Jeff. Okay, I'm gonna have to look this up. Make sure I'm checking
Mike
my
Mike
facts
Chang
here.
must have done something because he has done. quite a bit of marathons for sure. So like he is, I don't know if he is at Jim's level of marathons.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not quite at Jim's level, but he's up there for sure. I mean, I don't even know. Like maybe I'm the Levi that's done the most races. I don't know. Maybe I could have that going for me.
Oh, I like that. It's Clint who did mainly marathons. Okay. Clyde Shank from Grapevine, Texas. He's
Okay.
78 years old. And how many has he done?
Out there running marathons all the time. Like these guys that are these marathoners that are in their 70s out there running still like that. That's making the rest of us look bad.
I know. Oh my God. I just.
Now and I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I could I can't even do that stuff now, let alone, 30 years from now. That's crazy.
I don't know. I hope I can. I was just doing the math this morning about 200 is within reach for me. I'm at 172. So maybe the next 3 or 4 years, I'll hit 200. But if I want to hit 300, that'll take me 10 more years. And by then I'll be 65. Wow. The thought of being that old is weird.
Yeah.
And
So do you think you'll try to do 300? Because 200, I think you're a shoe in for 200, I think, because
yeah, for sure. For sure I can hit that 200. 300 would be fun. 300 would be awesome. Then you officially get that mega list. You get on the mega list.
yeah, there's a different club I think that's for 300 marathons, right?
Yeah, it's the mega list. So I was using mega as people were just over 100 marathons, right? And I'm realizing more and more people are only saying mega if you're 300 or more. So I have to adjust some of my verbiage. You're almost a mega marathoner. I
Well,
think we're still megas.
I think. Well, I don't know about you if you feel the same way, but it's when you're talking to friends who are not marathon runners, or maybe they run marathons, like a couple of marathons, versus friends in our marathon circle. It's
Hmm.
totally like night and day because you can talk to somebody who is not a super diehard marathoner, and you're always impressive when you talk to somebody like that, right? I mean, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
you've run over 100 marathons. Wow, you've run all the states. Wow, you've done this and that. And I'm like, wow, okay. So it kind of gives you a little bit of an ego. And then you get together with like people in the 50 state club, and you're like, wow, I'm average.
I'm just a baby. You're just getting started. You're
Exactly.
only at 192, Levi. God,
Right.
you're such a slacker.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
and like you said, like Clyde Shank and Jim Simpson. Holy crap.
Jim Simpson's just how many rounds did he say he's done now? He's done so many. Like because
I'm
he's
not sure. I thought he's over 3,000 marathons overall.
can't even imagine. Like my body wants to break down thinking about that number. I'll be very happy once I get to 200. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Yeah. You're at 200. I'm chasing you for 200. We're coming up close.
Oh, wait.
That's good. Yeah. And best of all, you helped me celebrate my 50 states when I finally completed my 50 states. After 172 marathons, I finally made all 50 states in August of 2025. And Levi was there to celebrate with me, and it was so fun.
So much fun. Yes, it was just awesome. Like this past year has been like really cool. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see my friend Amanda finish her 50 states in Delaware last year.
Yeah.
But getting to see Caroline finish in Nebraska, getting to see you finish in
Mm.
West Virginia, like, and actually getting to see you finish because I don't know if I saw Caroline at the finish. I mean, we of course were hanging out. We got together. We were the
Hmm.
a whole bar kind of you know celebrated her finish, which was really kind of cool. But like being able to actually physically see you finish, like
Hmm.
across the finish line in your 50th state, that was really cool. Like I was so glad to be there. So
Yeah, I'm really glad you came. And Christine came out too. That was really special. And she brought inflatable numbers, a big 50 for me to hold. And that was pretty emotional. That was so fun that she thought of that. So considerate. And I talked to her. I was texting her today too. And so she says hi as well.
awesome. Yeah, she was awesome. Anybody that is in your orbit is always really good people. So I knew as
Mhm.
he said, "Oh yeah, my friend Christine's coming out as well." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, she's gonna be really awesome." So yeah,
Yeah.
she was good. Definitely tell her I say hello.
Yeah. And we all got some award. Like you and I each came in third place in our age group, and Christine was second overall for
Which
the
is yeah,
race. No wonder she was so tired for the Via Ferrata.
exactly. She,
She actually gave it her all on the marathon course. I just kind of, phoned it in at the end and walked a lot.
but hey, funny it is, still got you an age group award. I'm, looking at my little gator, not gator, whatever it's called. It's not a gator.
Neck buff. Yeah, we got a
Yes.
little neck scarf as our age group award. So I came in third place out of all women 50 to 59, and you were third place for men 40 to 49.
I am fine with that.
I forgot because of, ADA, and this is a podcast and people can't see us. We're kind of supposed to describe ourselves. I'm just this pasty white girl, this little uncomfortable lady in my 50s and with mousy blonde hair. Oh, so Mousy's kind of creepy. I don't want to be a mouse. So if I were an animal, I think I'd be Toto. Toto from the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, awesome.
The little terrier guy. He's an energetic little sidekick, kind of a prop, And he was really the star of the movie. He gets into all the trouble with the neighbor lady's gardens, when he goes through her gardens and she's the one who turns into the witch. And he's the start of all the ruckus and the mayhem. Just little cute ball of energy, just trying to keep it all together. I was thinking, well,
Definitely would not have been a thing without Toto for sure. Yeah. I have a little stuffed Toto because I dressed as Dorothy Gale myself for two of my marathons.
oh, cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they should redo the movie from the dog's perspective.
Oh my goodness, how amazing would that be? Get
yeah.
the Wooford of Oz.
the word of Oz. I mean, what would Toto do?
WWTD.
So you're, pasty white dude in that
I'm a pasty
M
white dude for
40 to 49 from Maryland,
Maryland.
USA. So if
Yeah.
you were an animal, what would you be?
If I was an animal, I would definitely be a dog for sure. Yeah.
Woof woof.
And woof woof for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I think like, yeah, I've just got that kind of like, I'm ready to go kind of energy. So I think dog would definitely be me for sure.
Golden retriever.
Golden retriever for sure. Because yeah, growing up with golden retrievers only makes sense that I think that would be me. Um,
You told me one time you used to read to your dog.
I did, yes. I used to read my dog Hope. Hope was one of our first dogs that we had. Well, growing up, we had a few dogs, and then after that, my mom decided to do one dog at a time.
Oh.
Dog I really, really grew up with was Hope, and yeah, I would sit on the kitchen floor with Hope and read her books,
Oh.
and yeah, so I seem to remember like a picture that I saw at one point of like Hope's head in my lap as I'm reading her a book. So,
Oh. Cute. Were you reading her The Wizard of Oz?
I was not. One of the books that I had was a book about I think it was like one of those pop-up type books where you had like things that came up off of the page or whatever. So
Uh-huh.
yeah. So yeah, I would read to her periodically. She was such a sweetheart. She was
Oh.
so super scared of storms though. Uh
Mm-hmm.
growing up it was like she would run and hide for storms, and we had this little bench in our dining room area, and Hope was way too big to try to fit under this bench, but every single time that's where she would try to hide. It was like, oh, it's like so sweet, but I'm like, oh, you.
Oh. So satellite radio has this show called The Pet Psychic, which is just awesome. And the lady there explained that animals on their skin, is very sensitive to the electrical charge of the storms, and that if you put a tight garment around them, it calms them down. They call it a thunder shirt for your
Oh,
dogs.
yes, yes.
I'm like, wow, that doesn't sound like psychic knowledge, but awesome way to go.
Yeah, the thunder shirts, it just some breeds are kind of prone to that for sure, where the thunder shirts are really helpful. Yeah, I don't know if Hope probably could have benefited from a thunder shirt for sure. Uh,
Some people can benefit from a
oh,
thunder shirt.
100%. I got it for this dog Miguel periodically, and Miguel is one of these. He's about as anxious as a dog as I am a human being.
No, really.
I mean, I'm not to the level of Storms, of course, but I think if I was a dog, I probably would be. But Miguel, he's one of those like I've watched him over Fourth of July before, and if he even hears a one single firework way far in the distance, I cannot get him to budge at all, and he's immediately pulling on the leash to go back home. So I'm like, oh, poor guy. But yeah.
Sometimes you and the doggies are a little anxious. Does running help you kind of control your anxiety, or how does that?
I think it helps control my anxiety better than most things that I've tried. I mean, I
Mm.
tried, you know, doing various things, and running's definitely it helps ground me, I think. I
Mhm.
always tell people, when you're doing a race, the first half is always physical, the second half is always mental. And it's definitely important in that second half for me, especially, when I'm running, to just kind of learn to just kind of process things that have been going on, just kind of zone out, just think about whatever. Yeah, I definitely think it helps my anxiety. I for whatever reason, I have decided that I don't want to see a doctor and be on whatever medication I probably admittedly need for anxiety and whatnot. I've just decided I'm just going to kind of deal with it on my own, which arguably may not be the smartest approach to dealing with anxiety and neurodivergence, but it is what it is. I mean, it's something where I, I think running has been, key with helping me out. I think between running and family and friends, especially if I can travel to do a race and see people on top of that. Like I'm seeing my friend Brian in a couple of weeks in Iowa. So I think
Mhm.
any trip, I mean, the trip, in West Virginia, of course, seeing you, I mean, any
Mhm.
any trip where I can see folks, or if I don't see people that I know, like this weekend, I don't know anyone in Canada, and because I'm kind of introverted for the most part, it's going to be one of those trips where I have to force myself to branch out and talk to people, which sometimes kind of freaks me out. But I
Uh-huh.
also know that if I don't talk to people, then I'm never going to end up meeting really awesome people. So yeah,
Mhm.
um, and then yeah, I'll never be able to potentially find rides or something. Where
Right.
if
It's all
I
about
hadn't opened my,
hitchhiking.
yeah, if I hadn't opened my mouth, closed mouths don't get fed, and I think I've always told
Oh,
people the worst word in the English language is no. Um,
yeah.
when I was a kid, I did my first. I'm kind of going off the rails here, but I used to do fundraising for bike rides. And I did my first long distance bike ride it was the summer between my junior and senior year of high school. And in my neighborhood in Welcome, Maryland, I didn't know anybody with money, but I had to raise a couple $1,000s to do this bike ride. And I learned that I just had to go around to different people's houses, knock on doors. This was back when you probably could knock on people's doors. I don't know if you could do that anymore now.
Mhm.
But I'd
Yep.
knock on people's doors and I'd say, hi, like, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. And I'd get a little pitch. And some people would shut the door in my face, and other people would be like, oh, yeah, I'll write a check. I'll be right back. They'd come back to the door with a check. So, yeah, I think I've just kind of carried that mentality into adulthood where it's like, all right, well, if I am struggling trying to figure out how to get somewhere, like, I mean,
Mhm.
there was a race in Canada where I had no idea how I was going to get to the start. And
Mhm.
it was at the expo where I made this announcement at the expo, like, attention, everyone, you know, if anyone is traveling from this area tomorrow and you may be able to give me a ride, I'd be so greatly appreciative, whatever it was. And
Uh-huh.
then I like had to like let my words sit for a minute, and I was like, oh my goodness, I am so embarrassing. And
Yep.
as I start to leave from the expo, because I'm like, okay, nobody responded, whatever it is, what it is. A guy came up to me and he's like, oh yeah, well, I may be able to give you a ride. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I would love that. So it's one of these things where sometimes it works, other times I'm rolling the dice. Like there was a race in Washington State where I stood at the expo for 2 hours with a sign asking for a ride share, and I came up short there. Uh,
Oh no.
so I had to, I think I ended up taking an Uber to the race start the next day for that one. But
Yep.
like, yeah, it drives my mom crazy because she's always like, your lack of planning. I could never do. I'm like, well, like,
Your lack of planning, and yet you've done 192 marathons in different states and provinces all over the world.
true. But I mean, the lack of planning has really been. It's I don't know if it's kind of a lack of planning, but it's almost like a rush that I get from doing everything at the last minute, and I can't explain it. The only thing I can say, like, when I was in school, it would be like when I would, like if I had like a project or something due the next day, I would stay up late the night before and cram for
Mhm.
whatever it was. It seemed to be my best work. So
I tend to procrastinate too, and I should really. I've really been working on trying to get things done and projects completed before a deadline, and it's doing okay. So, in fact, we're recording this a little early. I think this episode is going to air in October 2025 because Mike and I are going on a vacation to France and Italy at the end of the month. So I'm trying to do the podcast in advance for once before we go. It's a miracle. So I'm
I'm
glad you were
taking notes from
available.
you on how to do it then.
Oh my God. Yeah. And so today we finally booked our return flights and our hotel in one of the cities. We're going to meet our ski club over there, but we're going on our own for a couple nights. And at the end, some people are staying longer and going to Rome. So we're going to spend some time there too. So I got that all taken care of. And he was having serious anxiety over the fact that it wasn't done. And it's like a month away. And oh, we're not going to find a place and all this stuff. And
That
I'm
seems like
like,
a lot of planning for me. I mean, but
yeah.
on the
Yeah.
same token, my brother who is now going to Hawaii with me in January, like a few weeks ago, he was already booking hotels for himself and me and my friend Yolanda, who's also going. And I'm like, I thanks for booking that. I won't be able to pay you back for a while, but I appreciate that we have a place to stay because if it was me booking it, we would have been like, a couple of weeks beforehand, I would have been finally looking at a place.
I know, me too. I told Mike, well, I thought we were trying to stay flexible, and I was doing my best to find a marathon over there. I did find one, but I don't think I can squeeze it into the vacation.
Why not? Let's unpackage this. There has to be a way that you can do this.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so we're staying in one city, and the marathon is 3 hours away from that city, but it's only 30 minutes away from the next city that we're staying in. So it's
Oh,
on the way.
it is.
I
So
know. I know.
good.
I'd have to go rogue and leave the tour again.
But it could be a fun story to tell.
Yeah. Yeah. Sally had to do a marathon when we were in Italy. I mean, because we're there and it's only 3 hours away.
Do you ever get from Mike or from other people, you can travel and not have to run a marathon?
All the time.
Drives
What's
me
the
crazy
point?
when my family will say that to me because I'm like, oh yes, I realize this. However, comma.
I'm trying to accomplish a goal here, people.
Exactly. Yes.
So I'm glad you had that. Open your mouth to get fed. I've never heard that before.
Oh, closed
And
mouth.
a closed mouth doesn't get fed. That's pretty poignant. And we met in Las Cruces, New Mexico in 2023, and because we were staying at the hotel and we just started talking at breakfast. You were sitting there by yourself for a while. And on that trip, my best friend, Dina, and her son, who's also named Levi, came with me. And once we started figuring out that you were Levi Sr. and he was Levi Jr., it's just obviously such a fit.
It was kismet. We had to be friends after that.
Yeah, yeah. And if you hadn't started talking to us, we might not, we probably wouldn't be here now.
Right,
And
exactly.
and that ended up being so much fun because then we ended up going to White Sands and you had wanted to go and we were doing our planning and getting our rides together. And we're like, well, you know, I think we have enough time and uh, that Levi guy wants to go, so let's call him. And you did. And it was really fun.
Too weird. I guess he can join us. I don't
Yeah.
know. But
He doesn't seem like a serial killer yet.
exactly. See, this is the mentality that I'm pushing off onto other people.
Yeah.
I was looking through some of my notes and some of my marathons in the past, and it's like, when I discovered couch surfing, like that was a
Yes.
game changer for me because it was like, there's no way I would have been able to do all of these marathons had it not been for that website. Like, um, definitely, especially my first round of the States. Like, yeah, like, I mean, I took a gamble because my first couch surfing was actually in New Mexico as well. So New Mexico, I've got a lot of good memories between meeting you in New Mexico and my first stay with a guy whose profile from the website was Benny the Ice Pick. And
Oh.
I remember thinking, oh my goodness, I think this guy may be a serial killer. Let me pass his information along to literally everybody I know in case I get killed in New Mexico. That way they'll know, hey, my last known whereabouts were with this guy, Benny.
You've got your Garmin watch on with the emergency beacon ready to go at any time.
Exactly. That has the best signal I've got.
Send out the emergency message.
I mean, after Benny proved that he wasn't actually a serial killer, I was like, hey, let me try to surf with other people. And so, yeah, the couch surfing has been a lot of great stories with couch surfing for sure.
My friend David does couch surfing in San Francisco. He has a place there and he's hosted a lot of people and he tends to host people who are foreigners, visiting San Francisco. And he's end up visiting a lot of them, like in Germany and Czechoslovakia and Tasmania, all these places. It's really helped open up the world to
Yeah,
him. And, it makes it way more affordable to go.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I've done the same thing where I've stayed with people too. I live alone now. I haven't hosted anybody since I've lived alone this time around, but I've hosted people, when I can, in former places. When I lived alone, the last time I lived alone, I was hosting people, but then I was hardly ever home because I started dating somebody. So
Mhm.
it basically became one of these things where I would invite the couch servers over to my place, basically tell them you have free run of the land. I'm going to be basically down the street if you need anything. Otherwise, I'm going to kind of leave you alone. So
Yeah.
for people that would stay with me, that yeah, I ended up hanging out with when I traveled. Germany was one of those for me as well. Chile was another one.
Hmm.
And then I had these two girls in Brazil who ended up being kind of like sisters to me, and they visited again and reached out to me. They didn't stay with me the second time, but we ended up hanging out. So yeah, it's a nice community of people for sure. Um,
Yeah.
but I one of my marathons, I stayed with somebody from Couchsurfing who I had never actually met.
Oh, really?
So the amount of trust that went into that race or that time was just crazy. So yeah. So Mia, if you're listening, Mia in Massachusetts, yeah, it was just nuts. Like I totally could have like cleaned her out. I'm
Uh-huh.
the kind of person, and it was really nice to know that somebody had that level of trust in somebody they'd never met. That they're like, hey, let yourself in, and sorry I didn't get a chance to meet you. you know?
Well, I think it's shows the goodness, the faith in humanity that people have. People want it to work, you know.
And I think it's a testament to like there's good in everybody. And I think, it's a shame that, the news and everything just focuses so much on like, oh, here are the crazy stories, because obviously that's what gets traction, with
Yeah.
men. And it's easy to think that, oh man, get disillusioned thinking like, oh, people are just like awful. But it's like there's so much good in people, and if you just let people be good people, like I mean, there's good in
Mm-hmm.
out there, you know. So
Yeah, I try to pay it forward too because years ago, my my cousin Roger had this job, and there was a guy come into Minnesota for work, and Roger told the guy, yeah, you can stay at my house. I'm not going to be home, but same thing. Let yourself in, no problem. And they've become really good friends and friends with another family friend. And then when I went over to the UK, this guy let me stay at his house, even though he wasn't home. He knew I was Roger's cousin and opened up his house to me. It's like, wow, that was really nice. So I've done it a couple times too, or definitely will let my marathon friends come over and crash on the couch or whatever they need.
yeah, for sure. That's always me. I mean, if it's somebody that that I've gotten to know or whatever, like, hey, I always tell people you're always welcome to stay at my place. Even if I'm not home, there's a code that I can give you that will get you into my apartment. So uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the first times I was hosting people, I had a friend Kelly who she had hosted people before, and so I was kind of taking some pointers from her because she had had the experience of hosting people where I had only surfed at that point. And
Mm-hmm.
the very first time that I was hosting people, I was worried because I couldn't get back to my apartment quickly enough for these girls to, get in. And Kelly said, why don't you just give them a copy of the key? And at that point, up to that point, I hadn't even thought like, oh, giving someone a copy of my key for my place, like that's just what happens if they come in and steal all my stuff or whatever.
Right.
And I had to let that go with these two
Uh-huh.
girls. And I'm glad I did because they ended up being, I ended up seeing one of them in Germany when I ran in Munich. And so I was very glad that I listened to Kelly's advice because I had to let it go and just be like, these are people that they're on this website, they're verified. I can see that they've got all these great reviews, this and that. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, if I can't trust people that I'm opening my home to, like, what does that say about me?
Yeah. It says that you're being cautious
Well, yeah,
in this situation. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I know. I think about I don't think I really have anything that people would want to carry away with, like out of the house, like maybe a roll of toilet paper or something. You
my medals and my grandmother's menorah. If you take any of that stuff, like, no, it's on.
Yeah, yeah. All my money goes to traveling. So
Exactly. Yeah, if you can find any money in my place, good luck. 'Cause-
yeah, let me know because
yeah, please let me know because I'm in need of money myself.
I've been digging in the couches for a long time.
I would love to like randomly like find some money that I hid for myself and be like, wow, this is great.
I know. When my mom passed away, my sister kept finding money stashed in weird places, and I don't know if she told us all about it. She may have kept some for herself.
Oh man.
I ended up with a little fanny pack filled with like $50 in quarters and dimes and nickels that she used for bingo.
So one day you'll be able to play bingo just the same.
One
Well,
day I'll be able to play bingo just like mom did.
uh,
Yeah, I think it's inevitable, right, that you turn into your parents or at least part of your parents.
100%. I definitely when I go on like long rambling stories, I'm like, love you, dad, but that's definitely my dad.
Well, and with your family, you did something really unique too that most people don't do, is that you changed your name. Are you comfortable sharing that story?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was a great way to tick off both of my parents. It wasn't inten I didn't do it intentionally to piss off my parents, of course. It was just a little added bonus, I guess.
Yeah,
No,
nice.
I growing up, it's like my dad always used to call me by my birth first name. My mom always used to call me by my middle name, and my first name was one that I never went by as a kid. I mean, I think for a very brief period I went by it, and then after a while I just ended up going by my middle name. And so because I never went by my first name, it just kind of, I think after a while, it just started kind of bothering me to have a
Mm-hmm.
first name that I just didn't really want to be called, and so I just thought, I guess when I moved to LA, it was the LA thing to do is change your name.
Really?
I guess that was probably my mentality. Uh, so it was within the first year of living in LA. I think pretty much as soon as I could, like within 6 months or so living in LA, I started the process of changing my name. And before I did that, I was trying to think, okay, well, what name do I want to change my first name to? It's got to be something that I want to go by. And I kept
Mhm.
coming back to the same few names. I seem to remember that Marshall was in there in the mix. I remember Duncan was in the mix. Uh, I think because, there was a musical artist that I liked for a while named Duncan Sheik, and I guess maybe
Oh, yeah.
whatever.
Yep.
And then I just kept coming back to Levi. And I was like, every single time I would say the name Levi, I'm like, this feels like a name that definitely fits me. It fits who I am.
Mhm.
I feel like funny because my mom will tell me the story sometimes about how when I was a little kid, my birth name was Jacob.
Mhm.
He said that, as a baby, I guess, when you would say Jacob, it was a name that like as a baby would like almost like scare me a little bit.
Uh,
So,
uh-huh.
so even as a baby, I didn't like the name. Cool. Um, yeah, so I just changed the name to Levi and never looked back. It was quite a process because it you had to put your name in a you had to put the request in a newspaper of general circulation in case anybody contested the name change. Mostly for kids, I guess, but you know
Mhm.
they they don't usually contest an adult's name change.
Mhm.
Then after that, it's changing everything on the back end with all your documentation. So some of my documentation I didn't change until a couple of years ago. I think my birth certificate, I think you don't necessarily have to change your birth certificate if you don't want to, but I finally changed my birth certificate a couple of years ago. So yeah, it was my dad still calls me Jacob. He is the only person in the world who is allowed to
Mhm.
call me by my birth name. Uh,
Yep.
I had my former stepsister reached out to me a few years ago, and she texted me and she said, "Oh, hi, Jacob." And I had to correct her really quick. I'm like, "Yeah, my name's Levi now, so just an FYI." Like my dad's the only one who's still allowed to call me by my former name, uh,
Yep.
and my mom still calls me by my middle name. So neither of my parents like. So it was a total waste there. So it's like I think my parents had the last laugh. They're like, "Well, you wanna do something to change it up? Well, we're not going to call you, but."
Yep. That's what we want to call you. It's part of your identity.
It is, yeah, and it's one of those things where I think growing up, I just never thought of myself as a Jacob. Yeah, I like the name for other people. It just never, to me, it never fit.
Mhm.
My brother actually calls me Levi. He's the only one of my immediate family who does call me Levi.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, my mom still calls me a variation of my middle name, which my middle name was Adams with an S. I
Yep.
took the S off at the end, so it's just Adams. My mom calls me by my actual middle name now. Not a very so yeah, so I make no regrets though. It's something I'm glad I did because yeah, I'm definitely happy with the change. So uh, yeah.
Yeah, I changed my first name too. I went from Sally to Sally Ann when I got married because I moved my middle name or my last name, which was Head Hed, became my middle name. And then when I got married, I officially changed my last name to Dahlquist because I didn't want to lose my head. And I, I wanted Mike and I to have the same last name when we traveled. And my lawyer said, well, it's easier to have two first names instead of two last names. So, I didn't want to hyphenate or anything. So,
So it wasn't hype.
no, it's not hyphenated, but, I was pretty, pretty far in my career and old when I got married. So I guess I still use head a lot. I still refer to myself as Sally Head. And then I got to correct Sally Head, Dahlquist. I mean, Dahlquist. I'm Sally Dahlquist.
Well, yeah, that's why like when we were what was I somebody was asking about your last name, I think for something maybe in West Virginia or something, and I was like, wait, does she go by is it Head Dahlquist? Is it Dahlquist? Like
I don't know what I do anymore.
you're like, whatever.
What's your last name? Oh, well, legally, it's Dahlquist.
Um, yeah, the period of changing it was like definitely interesting because it was like still having to like write Jacob on everything for me for a bit. It's like, can't wait
Mm,
until it's finally done so that I don't have to write this name ever again.
yeah, you became your own person. No, I mean, not that you weren't
Becoming
before.
Levi. Maybe that could be the title of my autobiography.
What would you call it?
Becoming Levi. I don't know.
Becoming Levi. Yeah, I love it. The goofy guy who likes to run.
Yes, exactly.
Well, at least you didn't name yourself Hope after your dog.
Dog. Yeah, I know. Thankfully, I did not do that. Yeah, I was. I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what it was that kept me coming back to Levi. But yeah, there may have been other names in the mix too. But those are the three that I remember that were in the mix.
It's a very international name too. I think
Yeah.
people with other languages and other locations know how to say it and relate to it.
Well, if I can be totally honest, I actually kind of like it when people mispronounce it
Oh,
in a weird way because it's like
uh-huh.
I kind of feel like I can't really get mad about it because it's not the name I was born with. So I'm like, okay, cool. You want to pronounce it Levy? Great, cool. I love that name. That's great. So
Is that the Israel version?
yeah,
Levy?
Levy it would be, yeah. And so when people pronounce it that way, where was I recently? Recently? I was somewhere. I don't know if I was running a marathon and like maybe my name was on my bib and like people were pronouncing it Levy, throughout the race. And I was loving it because I was like, whatever, cool. I love this pronunciation too. And like this one guy at one point was like Levy. He's like, oh wait, is it Levi? I'm like, actually, it's fine either way. I pronounce it Levi, but like I wasn't gonna correct you, so like whatever. Uh, yeah. So um, my former boss. It's so funny because I have a coworker and who our former boss when I first started working at my job absolutely loved Anju, still do. She's such a sweetheart. She's one of my favorite bosses to this day with my organization. And she
Mhm.
always used to pronounce my name at the very start as Lavi.
Oh.
My coworker would be like, Lavi? Like, it's Levi. Like,
Oh.
all right, Lavi is one of the most interesting variations I've heard, but yeah, like whatever. As long as you call me some variation of that.
Huh.
But
Just don't call you late for dinner.
exactly, right? Because I'm a man who loves snacks and I love food.
Oh my God, I'm so food. Okay, so I finally finished off those orange cream Twizzlers that you bought for us last week.
I was hoping they went to good use.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they were good. And then Mike had some of the chocolate granola bars. And I'm gonna have some of the shells and cheese. I'm gonna have some of the mac and cheese this weekend.
Oh, is this the jalapeno? No, no. You're,
Yep, I'm gonna give that a try.
oh, you are. Okay. You will have to learn about how you like it.
Yeah. So Levi and I, along with Mike and our other friend Christine, were in West Virginia, and I ran the Black River. Well, not Mike, me, Levi, and Christine ran the Black River Falls Marathon, and that was my 50th state. And so we got in our little camper van and went to the grocery store and just, uh,
Moonlight on the falls.
yeah, yeah, Moonlight on the Falls. We ran the Moonlight on the Falls Marathon. Before that, we had to carbo load and stopped at Walmart and just binged and bought all sorts of random groceries, including these delicious Twizzlers, which are orange cream flavored, and like 5 different kinds of mac and cheese. Like there's Velveeta in the cup, and there's Kraft with jalapenos in the cup. We didn't buy the kind with broccoli in it. Not something healthy. So you were carbo loading, and you ate what, 3 or 4 of those packages?
Yes.
What do you normally do when you carbo load before a marathon?
Oh, I mean, I always do some sort of carbs. So sometimes I'll go out for pizza. Sometimes I'll go out for pasta. Um, A lot of times there will be a beer mixed in there because beer is carbs, so why not?
Yeah. Yeah, it's got lots of carbs in it.
Yeah, so I'll usually try to find something. And I my ritual with that is, to do the carb load, before the race. My other part of the ritual is for some reason I decide to take I'm not usually somebody that's like, let me take pictures of all my food, but my carb load meals I usually do take pictures of, and I'll send them to my mom and I'll be like, carb load number whatever, So I realized I didn't send her a picture of the mac and cheese from the cup until after the race. I was like, oh, wait, I wonder if this could have helped my time if I had just done what I did with the tradition.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely very food motivated for sure. I think that's another reason why I would probably say golden retriever as the animal that I'm extremely food motivated.
Me too.
I'm like looking at all the write-ups and like so many write-ups where I talk about like the food spreads at the end. And marathon directors, if you all are listening, the way to a perfect marathon is to treat your runners to the best spread after the race.
Yes. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, at West Virginia, they were pretty much out of food at the end. By the time I came rolling in at 7 hours, that
Yeah.
that was that was awesome. That trip was epic. So one thing we did was the moonlight on the falls. It was at Black Waterfall State Park in West Virginia, and it was supposed to start at 10 p.m. But there were storms that came through, so it was raining and raining and raining. So they delayed the start, delayed. So then it started at midnight, but they didn't change the cutoff time in the morning, which was fine because it was still 7, almost 8 hours to finish. And so we had to run overnight, and we had to do our carbo loading in the afternoon, which was kind of weird, a little earlier than normal. Like you wanted to eat at noon. So when we start racing at 10, but then it got pushed back to midnight, and then everybody in line waiting for the start in the rain is getting hungry and crabby because we haven't eaten enough.
Pepperoni rolls were the game changer. Christine had some pepperoni rolls that she brought with her, and oh man, having that last pepperoni roll right before the start, the chef's kiss right there.
Yeah. So now that's 2 midnight marathons I've done with you. The 2 that
Yeah.
I've done overnight have been with you.
You were the only person that I have carb loaded with at like 11 o'clock in the morning or noon.
The other one we did was the ET Midnight Marathon in Nevada, and that was awesome. Awesome.
Restaurant that time, so we weren't.
We had sushi.
Was it sushi?
Oh yeah, we had buca de pepo pasta first. We had sushi after the race.
Yeah, we had actual. I feel like it was spaghetti that we had before or during our 11 o'clock noon, whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah, and then on the bus on the way out there, Caroline had little rolled up little crepey things she got from Costco. And then I had managed to secure some bananas, like fresh bananas in Las Vegas for like $3 a piece. Man, I'm glad you appreciated them.
And this is another one of those things where it's like, you have to position, like for me, I have to position myself in spots to be, friends with people with the best snacks,
So I should carry my snacks in a clear bag so that will attract more friends. Because we're on the bus going out to the start of the race in Nevada, and Carol and I got our snack bags out, and we're like, "Here, Levi, have this. Eat this. Have another banana."
Would you like a treat, boy? Would you like a treat?
Yes, I would. I would love a treat. Just scratch me behind the ears while you're at it too.
Yep, dog. There's no other other than dog that would be appropriate for me.
And after the Las Vegas race, at least we got to go back to the hotel and sleep and crash in the pool, and it was great. And I was pretty much recovered by about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. But in West Virginia, did we do that? No.
Somebody decided that we needed to do another activity.
Somebody decided that we should go rock climbing.
It sounded like a great idea before the marathon. I was like, oh yeah, we'll be able to take a nap. We'll be able to,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, because the race is supposed to be over with by 4 a.m. So we'll be able to go back and sleep in our tents because we were camping too. It's not like we could go back to the hotel. And then get a couple hours sleep. And Mike, our driver, he'll be perky and fine and have no problem driving us
exactly.
down there. And so let's go rock climbing. All right. The race ends at like 8 in the morning. We hurry up and pack up all our stuff, hop in the camper, have some breakfast, and manage to get down to what is it? NR Rocks, New
Yes,
Rocks, NR Rocks to hike. We thought it was a hike. Hike this little obstacle course called the Via Ferrata.
sweet things we were.
That's so sweet of you to think that.
We're just gonna go on a little hike. Aren't you so adorable?
Well, no, I thought maybe it was a zip line or a little obstacle course up in the trees.
I
You
just thought,
know,
oh my goodness, this is gonna be so like it'll be fun, but it's not gonna be like anything crazy. Like I've gone hiking before. How bad could this be?
it's not going to be death defyingly terrifying.
Not at all. No, totally got this.
Yeah, we got this. And oh, yeah, by the way, we hadn't had any sleep yet. So Mike said that on the release form, it said that you have to certify that you're alert during this whole thing.
One of you mentioned that. I don't know if it was you that mentioned that or if it was Christine. One of you mentioned something about being alert, and I was like, okay, well, we're just gonna pretend that we are because we're doing this.
Yeah, but then once you start climbing, the terror sets in. You're like, I'm alert. I'm alert.
Exactly. Yeah,
There is
it
no
will
way
be.
I'm falling asleep up here. So it starts off as a little hike, little nice hike through the woods, like a couple blocks, and they strap you in with the climbing harness and the helmet, and it just gets worse from there. You look straight up, and there's these metal rungs pounded into the side of the rock, and you got to reach for them and stretch and go. And by the time we were at the third run, like we're exhausted.
The third run. Kidding me? I think I wasn't even done with the first run, and I was already huffing and puffing.
I know. I'm like, these rungs are 3 feet apart, and I'm only like 2 feet tall. How am I supposed to get up here? And I could see Christine, she was above me, just clinging with dear life. Every muscle in her body was tense. She's like, oh, we're hanging on, we're strapped in, but you start looking down, and it's a long way down. And finally, we make it to this ledge with a tree. We're like, oh, thank God, a tree. And the guide said, okay, anybody who feels this is a little too much, if you want to stop now, you can quit. Well, Christine, the smart one, decides, ah, this might be the good time to call it quits. We've experienced enough of this climb, and it's okay. So, so she leaves the group, and the three of us, you, me, and Mike.
No, well, keep in mind, I wasn't even there yet because
Oh, that's right.
while the guide was giving you that instruction of, or giving you that, like, if anyone wants to dip out, now is the time to do that. I was struggling, meanwhile, on the part that I hadn't even finished yet. Everybody else had finished. You all were with the guide. I heard my name at some point, like Levi, and I was like trying to call out, like, oh, I'm trying not to die.
I'm hanging from my backpack on the strap.
But somehow I had managed. So there were these tow ropes, and you basically from the rungs, you had the tow rope. You basically could grab onto the rope at this point. You could pull yourself up the rest of the way. Well, I did that, except the next tow rope, because there were a couple in that section. Somehow the little bag that you had on your waist, somehow that got kind of tied up within the tow ropes. I don't know how I managed to do this. Again, there's a way for me to figure out a disaster for myself. I will figure it out.
Maybe you were not alert.
I should have paid attention to the release form. But so I'm finding myself like with the tow rope somehow tucked in, like it's doing some like crazy thing where I'm like, how in the heck did I get this wound up in it? And I'm sitting there going, okay, well, as long as like one of the carabiners is like attached to the thing, maybe I'm good, except I have to unclip them because I think I think I've gotten myself way too twisted up here.
And
And
if you unclip them, you're going to die.
yeah, because you had to have at least one of them clipped onto the line at any time. And I couldn't, like, I knew I was breaking the rules by unclipping them both, but I was like,
Oh
I have to, yeah, I think for a very short period of time I unclipped.
my God.
So, sorry to our instructor if you're listening.
Uh-oh.
I promise you I was safe the whole rest of the time.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where I had to unclip and I had to like basically drop the carabiner in the middle of like where the little belt and everything was so that it would go through this loop and get untangled.
Mhm.
And all the while, like I thought at that point somebody was like making their way down toward me. I thought maybe the you guys maybe had mentioned like, oh, Levi's not here, and so I think he was
Yeah.
about ready to like head down. I'm like, oh no, I think I'm good. I'm just like, I don't think I'm gonna die. I think I'll be okay. And so I finally got up there, and that's when he really quick was like, oh yeah, well, I want you to switch places with Mike and Sally.
Yeah. Yeah. The guide had crawled all over us to try and get down to you.
Oh no.
He was calling your name and we did not hear you answering. I'm like, oh no, is he hanging down there? Did he fall? Did he hit his head on?
I was busy trying not to die. No, it's
Well, it worked.
I went ice climbing, like, and it kind of brought back like the memory of when I went ice climbing, and that was years ago. I went somewhere in Iceland. My mom had like bought me this little excursion because I think it was a trip that happened around my birthday, so it was her birthday trip to me that year, or her birthday gift to me that year. And when we had gone ice climbing, it was one of those where you have to like hammer your feet into the ice, with the little crampon things, and
Hmm.
obviously have the ice pick and like get yourself back up the so you could drop yourself down this ravine as far as you wanted to, but you had to get yourself back up. And at this one point my feet were just numb and I couldn't hammer them into the ice hard enough, and I slipped and the ice pick and everything fell. I mean, it was on like a whole carabiner system, so it didn't like fall down the ravine, but it was still one of those like I was thrown off, and I had a panic moment there where I out loud was like, I don't want to die today. The guide's like being really amazing, pulling me.
Oh.
Like, who knows what would happen that day? So like it's not a track record with with this kind of stuff. And so you would think like maybe I'd learned my lessons, but yeah.
Flashback.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Once you made it up to the tree, we were on this ledge clinging to the tree. And I thought it was 50-50. Are we going to go? Are we not going to go? Thinking there was a good chance the three of us would also quit.
yeah,
But then the guide said, oh, if you're capable of finishing this little section, you're physically capable of doing the rest of it. And the bridge is just right around the corner. So just pop yourself over there and you'll be at the easy part. It doesn't really get any harder than this. Well, WTF. Yeah, it does.
it sure does. He lies in fairy tales that he
That Andre. Sure, it's easy for him, the man who can like put his foot over his head and climb up a wall. But
You know who else it was easy for? It was easy for Anastasia, who was zipping through this thing like she was a professional rock climbing guide in training. Uh,
yes.
she was just amazing.
Yeah, she's also like 20 feet tall and
Yeah,
weighs
exactly.
2 pounds.
Weighs 2 pounds, is like in her 20s.
Very
So
nimble.
exactly, all of the above.
That's when you wish you actually did those stretching exercises that runners are supposed to do.
Like, oh man, oh my. Uh,
I really should be able to touch my toes. I used to be able to touch my toes.
I may not be able to touch my toes, but I can climb a 300-foot thing, even though I'm sorry, that seems like it was more than 300 feet. But
Yeah. Oh, well, we were up to 300 feet off the ground, and we climbed like 1,000 feet of elevation.
right, right, okay, that's right.
It was terrifying. So then the next stage was, following the guide to the supposedly easy part, where you had to cling to the side of the wall and shimmy around this corner and reach over like 2 feet to catch this other bar, which angled outward over the ravine. And since I was second to the end, all these little bars were getting, these handholds were getting slippery and slippier from other people's forehead sweat, I think, in addition to their hands and arms trying to cling to them.
There's a reason why my nickname is Sweaty Betty.
Sweaty Betty. Well, no wonder it was practically dripping by the time I got there. And get yourself around this corner without dying, and it was scary. It was scary. I
Well,
mean,
not only
that's
did
the
you
moment.
up around the corner, but you also had to do like a punch up motion type deal
Yeah.
that you basically had to like put your arm straight up through the rung, which doesn't feel like a very natural motion unless you're like just randomly like punching up in the air normally, which I don't know why you would do. So it was just really weird. So you're like trying to go around the corner, trying not to die, but also having your worker go, okay, punch up or whatever the actual term was. Because I'm sure that wasn't, I can't remember what the actual term was. But I was like, oh wow, so this already feels like, because I mean I've got skinny arms. So for me to like punch up, like I still have like a lot of room in that iron rung because I don't have big arm muscles. So
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, well I still feel like I could slip out of this thing.
I know. Oh, yeah. Fortunately, we made it around. We're exhausted. Our legs are tired. We're alert at this point, at least. And I was just really trying not to think about, if I let go, you're going down. Like, other climbing things that I've done, going canyoneering or climbing walls or something. If you just kind of jump off the wall, you're going to belay down and be fine. This
Yeah.
one, it's a hard jerk and you're going to fall another 30 feet and
Yeah, you're not falling onto a rubber mat.
no, you're falling onto a little prickly tree. And then it's going to take hours for someone to rescue you and pull you out. My technique was to hold on tight and not think about that, because my feet were secure. I mean, that's the thing with rock climbing is from other things I've done is, but with every step that you make, relax. All your weight's supposed to be on your legs. Use your hands to hold you on, but relax as much of your body as you can. And every time you take a step, then reset yourself, relax again, get your balance, and then make your next move. So I felt like I was kind of like a praying mantis in slow motion, those bugs.
But you navigated that tree really well. That one where we were kind of, straight up against this tree and you really couldn't do much. I mean, I had the most awkward move around the tree. Where I basically was like hugging around the tree the entire time, but you navigated that really well.
Yeah. You humped the tree.
I basically was humping the tree. It was really peaceful. I felt like I should have apologized to Mother Nature.
Going back to your golden retriever self. You were clinging to the tree. I know there was nothing inappropriate going on.
Yeah. Oh
no. You're just trying not to die.
I did not have to ask the tree, was it good for you at the end, Yeah.
Well, and the tree moved on to the next person. So.
I know.
God.
How dare you, tree? I thought we had something.
I know, right?
How did you feel about where we had to kind of Spider-Man ourselves when we were at the end?
Oh my God. Just, I was tired, man. I just wanted to be done.
Yeah. Well, it felt like we were almost there like several times. Like I felt like he was saying, oh, we're almost there, just around the corner. I'm like, oh my God, dude, when are we going to be done?
Is this the corner you're talking about? Or is that the corner? Or is this the tree that's almost the done tree?
It's good time.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So if we hadn't have signed up for it in advance, I would not have done it. But because we already shelled out a couple bucks to do it, there was no way I was not going to go.
I think that was part of the thing for me was, again, it comes down to money where it's like,
yeah.
I'm not wasting my money, especially when I have too many trips coming up.
Yeah. So I guess in our identities, if we're going to be an animal, definitely not going to be spiders.
No, not spider. Definitely not.
But I think I would definitely do it again. Making sure that you fully had a day to rest in advance and a day to rest afterwards. That's the only thing we're doing that day.
exactly. Yeah. Never.
God, I mean, I was sore for like a week after that. Like my shoulders. Like normally as a marathon, my legs are really tired, but after this one, my whole body was tired, like my arms and my neck and everything.
I was sore in places where I was like, what the heck? This is not cool. And I'm glad that I didn't have a race this past weekend because I needed an entire week to be able to just kind of
Uh-huh.
so
Yeah, and you had some chafing after the race too.
I did,
And some
yeah. That
and some
finally started getting better a few days ago.
that's good. Yeah, I came out great. I didn't have any chafing at all. It was all good.
So lucky. I don't have that luxury after Canada. Well, I mean, I have a week between Canada, I guess, and Iowa, but yeah,
Hmm.
will be able to bounce back pretty quickly after this.
Well, Shenandoah in Iowa is really flat and it's really relaxing. It's just one of the rail trails. You go out and back. The town is pretty small and cute, and there's a like a one barbecue place in town, and there's a hotel right next to it. Stay at that hotel if you don't have a place yet.
Booked the Shenandoah Inn and Suites, I believe, is where I am staying. So yeah, I did book something already, but so there's one barbecue place in town. Okay, is there a good spot for carb loading? I mean, I guess the barbecue place could be a default if nothing else, but
I think we went to the grocery store and bought stuff.
gotcha. Yeah, I'm gonna have to rent a car for this trip now because my friend ended up getting a job, which yay for him. But I thought we were gonna get together in Omaha and drive down from there. But now he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm still hoping to see you for the race, but I'll have to drive straight down from Minnesota." I'm like, "Okay." So I'm gonna,
Oh, mm-hmm.
but luckily it's only about an hour from Omaha, so not
Mm-hmm. When we drove down, Carolyn met us there, and she flew into Des Moines. And we drove down from Minnesota and picked her up in Des Moines, and then went the rest of the way.
that would have probably made more sense. I probably should have flown into Des Moines, but
Yeah,
especially since I
maybe you
really
can change it, save some money.
yeah, I mean, this is kind of late in the game, so I'm not sure if I would be able to save anything now, but it could be worth looking into because yeah, I've been trying to do like one fun, really awesome activity in each state at least, so that if somebody's like, "Oh yeah, what do you think of like this state? Like, what's the great
Hmm.
activity?" Like West Virginia could be Via Ferrata, but
Yeah,
in two rounds of
yeah, sounds great.
yeah. In 2 rounds of Iowa, there's been nothing. So I'm like, great. I'm kind of hoping that
Mm.
I find something to do this trip that I can be like, yes, that for sure was Iowa for me. Because I was thinking, oh, well, the last Iowa trip would be the Iowa one because that was the Spam Museum. But I'm like, wait, that was on the Minnesota side. So that doesn't
Yeah,
it
Spam Museum's awesome.
really was. I loved it.
And so in Shenandoah, the hotel I stayed in was the Quality Inn on the edge of town.
So they do. So it's a town that has at least two hotels. Then okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. So it's
Yeah, it looks like you're probably in the better quality hotel, little downtown.
well, one of my hotels, I don't know if it was that one or Omaha, and I don't know if it was because of my perks on Orbitz or something. One of my hotels, like I'm getting like a free bottle of champagne. I'm like, yes,
Oh.
please. Except now I'm renting a car, so I'm like, I got to be really careful of, Ryan hopefully had better help me drink this bottle of champagne because I don't think I'm gonna drink a whole
Ooh.
bottle of champagne and then want to be on the road the next day.
Mix it in with some orange juice. Make
Oh
yourself
yeah,
some little mimosas.
so that sounds good. But yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mike and I finally drank our bottle of champagne too for my 50 states. We finished that off on Monday night after the race. Yep, I thought Shenandoah was really cute. The race was really easy. It's very cash. Um, I think it was like the last 3 miles was pretty much out in the sunshine, like
oh,
out through the cornfields. Otherwise, most of it was a nice shady rail trail path.
good to know. And the fact that it's September means it probably shouldn't be too hot, I would think. I mean,
No, it should be perfect.
yay. I'm looking forward to that for sure. So yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, gotta get through these two back to backs and then these 2 weekends of back to back. And then October I gotta get through 3 weekends of back to back.
Yep.
No more back to backs for me through the end of this journey at least. But
Yeah. Can you take us back, like before you started running? What got you started? How'd you get into it?
When I first started running, I was in high school, and I was a theater kid in high school. And the fall was the regular plays, the spring was the musicals, and unfortunately, I couldn't sing to save my life. After years of musicals where I wasn't getting big enough parts, I was starting to, I think, get kind of bored of being, kind of background or whatever. I mean, they were decent enough parts, but I needed something more. And I kind of fell into the track team my junior year in high school. And I thought I was a sprinter, silly me. Track coach who thought I was a long distance runner. So he obviously saw something in me that I, to this day, probably don't see in me, but that's okay. So he got me doing longer distances. And I remember back then, my mom would always want to come to track meets. And I was always so embarrassed because, I was never fast even back then. But I think for my mom, she's always wanted to be a cheerleader for me, regardless. I could be super slow, but my mom wants to be out there cheering me on. So, I realize that now as an adult. But yeah, so high school, I did some track or whatever, enough to get the letter on my Letterman's jacket that I never bought.
Oh.
Yeah, and then after high school, I did like some 5Ks, 10Ks. I didn't really do much with it, but I made a bucket list when I was, I think, about 18. And the bucket list, most everything on the bucket list has been accomplished. There's one thing that I don't know if it'll ever be accomplished, but one of the things on the list was run a marathon. It was only supposed to be a marathon, single, never supposed to be more than one.
Uh-huh.
And I signed up for Twin Cities Marathon in 2005, and I didn't train sufficiently, so I decided not to do it. And signed up for it again in 2006 and decided, okay, I need to put in the work. I need to start training. So I actually trained. So, like, for me, what was sufficient, which now, like, the thought of training is like, what, me training?
Right.
So, but yes, I did Twin Cities Marathon, finished the race. It took me a week to recover, and I remember getting in and out of the shower was extremely difficult because I was just so sore. So like every little movement was just so painful.
Yeah.
And so I told myself at that point, I'm like, great, okay, I finished a marathon, never need to do another one. Cool. But then flash forward a year from that point, and I forgot about the fact that it took me a week to recover, and I forgot about the pain I experienced. And I decided, let me sign up for one more for some reason. And that race was Chicago Marathon, and that was an extremely hot year for Chicago.
Is that when they canceled some of them? When they
It canceled it. Well, at some point they canceled. They made it a fun run.
Yeah.
There was nothing fun about it at that point. So after that, I said, let me do one more that's not 90 degrees.
Yeah.
So I signed up for I had a friend who lived in Huntsville, Alabama at the time. So I did Rocket City, stayed with him. And in that race, I met somebody who had 50 state marathon gear on. And I made the mistake of asking the person about the 50 state marathon.
You started talking to somebody.
Talking to somebody, and I
No
felt
way.
a bad crowd, man.
If you had just shut up.
I had just shut up, I never would have run all these marathons. I could have saved myself a lot of money. I probably could have had a house by now. I don't know. Just to think about all the money that I spent, I don't even want to think about it.
I know. Don't think about it.
So, so at that point it was like, okay, well, do 10 states and then you can qualify to be in the club kind of deal. And at that point, the first 3 marathons I had done happened to be in 3 different states. I had Minnesota, Illinois, and Alabama. So I'm like, great, okay, so I'll try to do different states now. And so my first 50 marathons were 50 states. I did my first round as efficiently as I could have done them.
Oh, okay.
Started repeating states, during my second round. So rounds 2 and 3 weren't as efficient as they could have been, but that's okay. But yeah, somewhere along the line, I had reached out to my old track coach back when I was on Facebook. I found him on Facebook and reached out to him. Was like, "Hey, Coach Rodenhaver, just wanted to let you know, I'm now running marathons. I kind of have you to thank for it. Back in high school, you pushed me to run longer distances. So it was really, I don't know, I really kind of blame Coach Rodenhaver and their
Yeah.
Coach Jones, who was just awesome in high school. And yeah, I mean, they were the reasons why I kind of pushed myself a bit. And yeah, that's how one became 191.
It just snowballed, just kept going.
Snowball, quite a big deal. I was looking at some of my notes from some of the other races, and I won't ever get to the point, as some of my idols. Obviously, we mentioned people like Jim Simpson and different people like that, and even I
Hmm.
don't know if you remember her, but there was a lady named they nicknamed her the Lipstick Lady. Boonsun was her name, and
Uh,
she had run a whole bunch of marathons, but her shtick was her husband would come out with her for all these races. He would meet up with her like about a mile before her finish. He would hand her lipstick. She would do a little touch up because she wanted to cross the finish line looking really cute.
oh,
The thing,
yeah.
literally every single race, is that she wanted to make sure she touched up her lipstick and she was good to go when she finished. And I happened to run into her during one of my races, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Like it was really cool to like chat with her for a bit. And I was glad that I ran into her that race because I think she said she was retiring after that race. It was her 350th marathon, and
Wow.
yeah, so I was like, "Wow, that's really great." So like as I approach 200, I'm like, I keep saying I'm going to retire, but I'm like, maybe I'll do more. But like, I don't know. I mean, I've done the goals that I wanted to do, and unless there's a goal that could be manageable enough, I mean, I don't have a need to necessarily get to like Boon Sun's level of 350. That seems
Yeah.
more marathons. Uh, but who knows? I mean, never say never, I guess. So yeah, so that's it, I guess.
No, I've not heard about the lipstick lady before. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
But she's got the best support crew if her husband's willing to come there and give her lipstick.
this is every single marathon. I think he saw her like a mile before the finish, like every single time. So,
And lipstick is small enough you can just stuff it into the seam of your shirt
yeah,
or
exactly.
something. But hey, that's good for. So, when Carolyn and I did Marine Corps last year, 2024, she parked at her office because she worked for the Navy.
Oh yes.
But I had to wait outside in the Starbucks because I didn't have security clearance. And so I'm waiting in the Starbucks and she's taken forever. She finally shows up. She had put makeup on. She had makeup at her desk. And she was like, "Oh yeah, I saw it there, and thought I could just use a little touch up to look maybe a little better." And I was like, "Man, you look great." I'm like, I'm just going all natural. If I'm not sweaty and dirty by noon on a Saturday, something's wrong.
Yeah, you were talking about how we looked or whatever to describe people for ADA, and yeah, I think sweaty would probably be how I would describe myself most.
When I think about all the outfits, I try to dress fairly decent, kind of like the girl next door in my everyday life.
Yeah.
But it's the outfits I wear during the marathon that stop traffic. you know, Dirty shorts and a grungy top, and that's the outfit that stops traffic.
Uh, yeah, I'm currently rocking a couple week long beard. I don't think I've shaved since before West Virginia. So I've got living under a bridge chic.
Yeah. Well, that Via Ferrata took it out of you. Turned into a mountain man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I'm at that middle age where it's like the beard is like black, but there's like strands of white in there. I'm like, oh come on, beard, don't do that. But I don't know if I'm quite to the level of Andy yet where I want to like color the beard. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I feel like maybe I'll just kind of let it be what it is.
You just pluck out those gray ones.
Well, except when you do that, they come back twice as thick, or at least that's the old wives' tale, I think. But
Oh man.
if that's true or not, but
Yeah.
I'll find that out for sure. I don't need to advance the white in my beard any more than it already is.
I've got my two gray hairs so far.
So, yeah, I skipped
Nobody's sympathetic.
it's right to white. Yeah, I don't have gray. It's white. All the hair that's coming in, it's a different color is white. But Like, oh man, when did I become an old man?
Oh, well, you're still moving. You're still moving. You're still running. Still extraordinary. I mean, you are more than just a goofy guy who likes to run.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm a goofy middle-aged guy who likes to
A
run.
goofy middle-aged guy who likes to run. Oh. Maybe you'll become a goofy middle-aged guy who likes to walk.
I'm sure at some point that will be.
Well, that's kind of where I'm at. No, no, I do still want to, get that 5.5 hour finish. I've just been getting kind of lazy lately.
Well, just the fact that I broke 5 in a race with Amanda, what, like a year ago? Just like,
Yeah, that was Bemidji last year, 2024.
I don't know if somebody else took over my body because something happened to me that day to make it happen. But no, it wasn't Bemidji. It was Veterans Marathon in Indiana.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I
Bemidji, were you just over 5, like 5:14 or something?
think so. Yeah, I'd have to take a look and see um, what it was for Bemidji. I feel like it was somewhere around there.
But
Um,
both of those races you ran with Amanda.
Yeah, Amanda ran with me most of Bemidji actually. Yeah, it was a little over 5. It was 5 hours, 8 minutes, 21 seconds in Bemidji. But yeah, she ran with me most of the race up until I think 24-mile mark, if I'm not mistaken, because it was right near the Paul Bunyan statue. We took a picture with the
Yeah,
statue and
Paul and Babe, the Blue
yeah,
Ox.
I loved it. That was so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, the troll hunting, like, oh my goodness, troll hunting. You and Amanda was so much fun too.
Yeah, and there are those same trolls near Louisville.
Ooh. So in 235 days, well, maybe not on that day, somewhere around that trip, I
Yeah.
I see a sequel.
Yeah. Yeah. So Amanda did Kentucky Derby the same year I did. And she also drove and she knew about the trolls and stopped and saw those. But I hadn't met her by at that point yet. And we also drove down there. But I didn't know about the trolls. I wish we had. So both her and I also stopped at Mammoth Caves. So it was like we were doing this concurrent trip, but didn't know each other. And then she comes to Minnesota and shows us the trolls. It was so fun. Yeah, I'm going up to Detroit Lakes again this weekend. I'll visit the trolls.
Yeah, I was I it really I was surprised with how much fun that I had with it because the first time we did the trolls, what was the other race that we did? There was another race that we did, and there were trolls as well. Which race was that? Now I'm forgetting. Hmm. Whichever race it was. I mean, I it really surprised me how much fun I had with it because at first I thought, oh, this is going to be kind of hokey, but whatever. But I
Yeah.
really got into it.
Yeah. Yeah. So these just aren't little tiny trolls that are, a couple inches tall. These trolls are 100 feet tall. They're called the Thomas Dambo trolls, and they're actually all over the world. He's been making these giant wooden, amazing trolls, and it's kind of a treasure hunt too. So you have to go to each of the trolls and solve the riddle. And they're
Just so much fun in itself.
yeah, it was way more fun than I expected. And I brought my older brother, who's 12 years older than me, also to see the trolls, and even he thought it was pretty fun.
That's right.
He can be a little crabby. Not crabby. That's not a good word for it.
Gonna say
Cynical.
I
How's
can
that?
relate if that's the word because my mom that's how she would describe me.
What would she call you?
Crabby for sure.
Crabby. Crabby Levi. You're goofy and crabby.
Crabby. Yeah, I have my mom.
And you don't plan far enough in advance for her comfort zone.
I sure don't. Nope. She and I. Well, the funny thing is though, like we'll usually do a trip around the marathon every year. So my mom will come out and cheer me on usually like once a year, for a trip. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
And like every single time she wants me to be the one to plan things. And I'm like, you know how I do this. Why would you want to kind of plan knowing that you want to plan things in advance? Like, I don't know. So
Well, Louisville was pretty fun, pretty low key. You got to do the whiskey tour, and go see the horse track. There's a museum at the Kentucky Derby, the horse track.
Okay. Did you
Yes.
see Derby itself as well, or no?
Did we see what?
Did you go to the Derby as well?
The Derby is the week after the race.
Right.
So yeah,
you
you
did not stay for the Derby.
no, we didn't stay. Mm-mm.
Kind of wanting to stay for the Derby as well. I mean, I may be the only one staying that whole time, I guess, because hopefully I'll get some folks, obviously to cheer me on, for the race itself. But I would love to see the Derby because it's been on my bucket list for a bit.
Yeah.
My new bucket list, I guess. The one that I created when I was 18 wasn't on it by that point. But running across the country is the only other thing that I made on my bucket list when I was 18 that I'm like, well, I don't know if that's ever gonna
What else is on your list?
A lot of the things that I actually did. I didn't aim high enough when I was 18.
You didn't know that running a marathon would be so easy.
Yeah, right. So I had run a marathon on my list. I had be in the audience for The Price is Right.
Ooh.
And not only was I in the audience, but one of my friends won. So we got to run on stage, which was so much fun.
Yay.
So there was that. There was go to Times Square for New Year's, which I lived in DC at the time. So I had gone to Times Square that year, I think. Can't remember what else was on my list. Probably do a long distance bike ride, which I've done a few of those since. And I can't remember what else was on the list, but yeah, run across the country was on the list, even though run a marathon was on the list. So I don't know why I thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna definitely want to run across the country because like I only want to run one marathon, but I definitely want to run 3,000 miles. And I thought about it honestly because I'm just like, I don't know, like, is that how I leave LA? Do I like leave LA and just run across the country and try to figure out how the heck I'm making that happen? Who knows?
Yeah. Sell all your stuff. Send your menorah to your mom.
Yeah, send the menorah to my mom, and then at that point I'll have 3 rounds of my initial thought was I'm gonna have 3 rounds of medals for the states. My nephews and my niece aren't gonna want them when I die. So
right.
Part of me is like, maybe I could do something run across the country and like turn it into like a fundraising type thing where they're fundraising for like, and I just had to think like, what would I want to fundraise for? And my immediate thoughts were like children's hospital type things. So like maybe childhood cancer or something.
Yep.
And then like, growing up, I was always close to my grandmother. So on the opposite end of things, maybe something like Alzheimer's or something related to that. So I'm like, oh, maybe I could fundraise for one or both of these things. And like my thought was like, oh, I could run through all the states and like I could meet up with like, a kid and an older person and like give away like my medals, all these people and like all these stories. It could be like 50 states, 50 stories, or maybe it would be more than 50 stories because it'd be 2 people. So 100 stories, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean,
that's kind of cool idea. Have your medals hanging in the places where you donate the money. That's a good idea.
It would be kind of cool, but yeah, it's just like the thought of like undertaking something like that just seems like a lot. Like financially, it would be obviously like way more than what I've spent already on marathons. And this would be a few months out of my life to do like, I don't know, it'd be a lot. Like, I don't know. It would be cool to do. Like I would love to be able to like cap off my 18-year-old bucket list by doing something awesome like that.
I heard that Mike Posner, the singer, was walking across America. He was doing this a couple of years ago. I wonder if he finished.
Oh, interesting.
A lot of people ride their bikes across America.
Yeah.
I know there was a lady who rode her horse along with her dog across America.
Ooh, I knew a guy who biked across America. He was a reverend. I'm not sure what his title was, but he was one of the seniors that was at the senior center where I worked, and he would always do like a weekly like Bible type study with any of the seniors that wanted to go, and he biked across the country. And I was like, wow, like the senior citizen dude doing that. I was like, he was a good inspiration for sure.
Yeah. And those are the people, that's the reason why I thought this would be a fun podcast, because I am trying to raise money for medical research, and this is supposed to draw attention to it. So people out there, please donate. Now we know that you're kind of a crazy guy, you're a goofy guy. Why do you think you run? Why do you run so much? Who are these crazy people, and why do you run so much?
What are you running from? Uh,
Are you running from, or are you running toward something? Oh.
yeah, ooh, that is the existential question. I don't know. I think for me, I think part of it is just like if you set your mind to doing something, you'd be amazed at what you can do. I mean, I talk to so many people who say, "Oh, I could never run a marathon." And I always say, "Why don't you think you could? You really all it takes is signing up for one, training a bit, you know."
Yeah. Just sign up.
Yeah, just sign up. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I always tell people like, you can always do the first half of any distance is physical. The second half is always mental, at least for me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know. I think for me, I mean, I always joke that yeah, oh, I run all these things because of the medals at the end, which it's probably not a total lie. I mean, if a race didn't give a medal, I would not be too happy. Uh, there were a couple of races that ran out of medals, and I followed up with the race directors hardcore until I got my medal in the mail.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Alaska, just last month, I thought was going to be another one, and they ran out of medals at the end. And I had this like heartbreaking moment of like, oh man, like I'm gonna have to go back on the plane without my medal. And that particular race, I reached out to the race director. I ended up getting her number from one of the volunteers, I think, and I reached out to her, and she met me in my hotel the day that I was leaving to give me a medal. And I was
Oh.
like, that is amazing. So, Kristen Carpenter, mayor of Cordova, Alaska. She's amazing.
Yay.
But yeah, so it was just stuff like that where I'm like, okay, maybe I wasn't meant to get a medal like right at the finish because I was meant to like meet the mayor of the town who also the race director. Like, uh, that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, lots of reasons why I run. I mean, the medals, the people, being able to eat whatever the heck I want after a race because who's going to tell me no?
Right.
Just the personal challenge, the fulfillment that I think it gives me. I mean, I'm not much for working out in the gym, like, standard. I mean, I had a free membership to the YMCA for almost a decade when I worked there, and I can probably count on both hands the number of times I used my free membership over that time. Uh,
Uh-huh.
like traditional working out's never really been for me, but you know, running marathons, I'm like, okay, that's my bread and butter. I can do that.
Yeah. Me too. I was never considered myself a jock, but I can keep going.
Yeah,
Find that second or third gear, and I can go for 6 hours, 7 hours. And it feels good.
it sure does. I mean, the runner's high is like a real thing. It's, you get in a zone and you're like, all right, I got this. Like,
Uh-huh. Yeah. And I think those anxiety molecules need somewhere to go. And so when you run, it just flushes all that out.
oh, 100%. And then I'm back to normal for a little bit until until my next race. And then by the time of my next race, I'm usually like almost like a total mess where I'm like, yes, I can tell it's almost a marathon time.
Time for me to get my fix.
Yeah, exactly. Like this week has just been a trying week for me. So I'm like, yep, it only makes sense that I've got a marathon this weekend.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm really happy that works for you.
Yeah,
I know it works for me.
definitely. Yeah, I'm very thankful because, you know, like I joke with people. I'm like, it's an addiction. It's definitely a way healthier addiction than a lot of addictions out there. So
Yeah.
very thankful that this is the addiction I have and not like something crazy.
Not something destructive.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So,
You're not hurting anyone else, and hopefully you're not hurting yourself.
I mean, I'm hurting my feet because let's be real. At the end of the day, like I have like no arches whatsoever on my feet. My feet are just
Oh.
ugh, they're terrible. But
Oh, are you getting insoles or something?
I'm not, and I probably should.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too.
Yeah, I think a couple years ago, I was told, oh yeah, you should have like special shoes or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but I don't really want to do that because, I want shoes that look a little better. It's a vanity thing that I just can't get rid of. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. One of my toes has not been happy, and the podiatrist 2 years ago said, "Oh, you should probably get these insoles for it, or you can take a leave, 3 times a day for 6 weeks and see if it goes away." Well, it did go away,
Oh,
and then every once in a while it kind of acts up again, and then I take some leave and it goes away. And I was like, I just don't want to mess with insoles in my shoe. One more thing to worry about.
right.
But I think it's inevitable at some point. I'll have to get the insoles, which
Yeah.
hopefully would be a pretty easy fix.
Yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I guess insoles and the shoes would be a lot easier of a fix than some other things for sure.
Mm.
I'm definitely grateful that I haven't had any like major issues or anything. Knock on wood. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean my knees. I mean, my knees are starting to kind of like whatever, but like I think they've got another 9 marathons in them. So
Just give me another 9. That's all I
yeah,
need. I need another 28. I can do it.
yes, you can totally do it. And I always tell people, I'm like, I just want to stay just ahead of the knee replacement that I'm sure I'm going to need at some point.
Knees, hips, give me a head replacement.
Exactly. Just replace my body with just a working one, please. I would love that.
Well, I suppose I should let you go now. I've kept you on the phone forever.
It's all good. I do love talking to you. So
I know. It's so fun. And thanks for being extraordinary. You are more than just a goofy guy who likes to run. You are goal oriented. Even as a teenager, having that goal to run your marathon. That's amazing that you had that vision, exceeding your bucket list by going on stage at the Price is Right. That sounds cool. And you finally, got the rewards of being talkative and reaching out to people. That's awesome. Pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone all the time. I mean, you're curious. You may not be fast, but you go the distance everywhere.
hey, it's the tortoise and the hare, right? Like I guess I'm just the tortoise, where
Yeah.
sleep on me, but I'm like, hey, I'm finishing this thing. That's what I came out here to do.
You're finishing this thing that's what you came out here to do, and you are unstoppable. Woohoo! So thanks for being on the show, and best of luck with your next 9. I'll be watching. I'll be cheering.
Thank you so much, Sally, and I look forward to cheering you across the finish line when you get to number 200 yourself, because you are not far behind.
I got to fill out my spreadsheet just like you, my OCD spreadsheet. I love it.
You need tips on how to be more OCD. Let me know. I am more than happy to spreadsheet you to death.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in to this episode. I hope you enjoyed listening to it and learned a few things. Well, the people that we talked about today, they don't quit, and neither should you. Whether you're running marathons, rebuilding your life, or just searching for that next spark, you are more capable than you think. If this episode hits home, share it, subscribe, leave a review. Let's build this community together of relentless people who refuse to stop moving forward. And if you want to do something even bigger, support the mission. We're raising $1 million for medical research, and your support makes a difference. Check out our website at unstoppablestoriesthatmove.com. I'm Sally Hed Dahlquist. Until next time, keep running, keep pushing, and never stop proving to yourself what's possible.